Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a really simple birthday card, and I'm using a bunch of these banners from the Pinkfresh Studio Basic Banners Celebrate Stamp and Coordinating Die Set. You may have seen yesterday's video tutorial because I used this stamp set and die set in that video as well, but I'm creating a completely different look today. So I'm starting out with the stamp set. It's a one-piece stamp. It stamps all of these greetings all at once. And I'm going to stamp and white heat emboss it onto some salmon colored cardstock. First, I'm going to prep the cardstock using a powder tool to make sure that I don't get embossing powder where I don't want it. And then I prepped my stamp. I'm going to ink it up with some Versamark ink. This is my preferred embossing ink. And then I'm going to stamp it using my Misty stamping tool onto this cardstock. Now, at first I thought I might need to stamp it twice, but I actually got a really good stamped impression on the first go around. So I didn't need to stamp it twice. So I'm just going to take it out of my stamping tool. I'm going to add a little bit of the Wow Super Fine Detail embossing powder to that stamped image. And once I get this stamped and the embossing powder added, it's time to heat set it. Now, one thing I did mention in yesterday's video is that when you're using this one-piece stamp, you're gonna wanna use a piece of cardstock that's a little bit wider than 4¼ inches. While the stamping does fit on that width of cardstock, the die is going to kind of bleed off the edge and you're not gonna get your full banner shapes out of it. And you can kind of see that here as I line up my die. Now, this was my first time using it, so I didn't know that, but now you don't have to make the same mistake that I made. So once I get this lined up the best that I can, a couple of those didn't get the full cut, I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and now I have all of these banners with sentiments heat embossed on them ready for some celebration cards. Now I'm going to use that same die, and I'm going to die cut some jade cardstock as well as a little bit of this nectar cardstock, which by the way is like my brand new favorite color. I don't have much of it, so I'm just using the scraps until I get some more. And then I'm going to also use this banner die to die cut some vellum and some white glitter cardstock. So I'm going to end up with a ton of these beautiful shaped banners that I can layer up and use on various cards. Now, I'm not going to use all of these today, so I'm going to actually have some left over that I can layer up for future cards. These would be great behind die cut sentiments as well. So there's so many things that you can do with these, and I'm so glad that Pinkfresh has this. I can die cut a bunch at once and not have to die cut for a while. Now I'm also using the Wraparound Elements die set from Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm die cutting some matte gold cardstock. I love the little bow that's included in this die set. It's so cute and dainty, and it's like the perfect size. So I have that little kind of string element and the bow die cut, and I'm going to layer the bow on top of that kind of portion that overlaps on the strings. And this is going to become the point where I adhere all of my banners to it. But I'm just going to kind of stack these up and layer them all the way across. And we're going to create a horizontal card today. I'm going to use a couple of these that have the sentiments stamped and heat embossed on them. But for the most part, I'm just going to mix and match the various cardstocks and colors that I've die cut. I have the glitter one that I'm working in here. Now with this glitter cardstock, that glue is not going to want to adhere right away. So I'm going to use a pair of tweezers to kind of hold that in place as the glue dries. You can see that there. And then I'm just kind of working my way across, mixing up the various shapes and widths and colors to create a really fun banner element. Now the colors that I'm using today kind of lean a little more feminine, but you could definitely change up the colors of the banners that you're using to create a more masculine card, and this would be a fun masculine birthday card as well, just changing up the colors. So you can see I'm adhering those banner groupings onto that little string element that I die cut with some liquid glue, and then I'm going to flip this all over, and I'm going to reinforce all of those banners that we've kind of adhered together with liquid glue with a little bit of foam adhesive on the back. And that's going to help hold the banners together. And it's also going to give this some dimension when I place it on my card front. So I will be creating a horizontal A2 size card. So it measures 5.5 by 4.25 inches. And while this is kind of the main focal point and it has some sentiments in it, I am going to create a focal sentiment using this stamp from the Ribbons and Balloons stamp set that's brand new from Pinkfresh Studio. I love the combination of fonts on this Have the Best Birthday sentiment. I've stamped it using some hybrid black ink from Pinkfresh Studio onto some white cardstock. I've used the coordinating die to die cut that out, and I'm going to die cut a couple more layers and kind of layer those up to add a little bit of heft to this stamped image. And on the background of this card, I am going to ink blend a little bit of Peach Fuzz ink, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit of Coral Reef ink and just kind of blend that over the top of the Peach Fuzz ink. This is just going to give it a little color variation, and it's kind of just meant to have a little glow happening behind the banner just so everything doesn't feel too flat. Now, before I adhere all of my elements onto this card base, I'm going to actually take and use some gold watercolor to create some splatter on this card. Now, this is not something that I normally do. And if I'm being completely honest, it's not something I'm terribly comfortable with because there's so little control. But I think this was the perfect finishing touch for this card front. So you can see I have these starry colors, watercolors. These are from Gonzai Tombi. I've just kind of added some water to one of those there, added it to an acrylic block, and just flicked it onto my card front. I'm just making sure that I have everything where I want it. I removed the backer from the foam adhesive on the back of these banners and placed that down. And then I just trimmed off the excess. And now I am taking my stamped sentiment here and adding it onto the bottom of this card front using a little bit of liquid glue. Now, wasn't that easy, but it's so beautiful and so impactful. A couple of runs through the die cut machine with some various colors of cardstock, a tiny bit of ink blending on the background, and you have a beautiful birthday or even celebration card, depending on the sentiments that you choose from that basic banner's Celebrate, Stamp, and Coordinating die set from Pinkfresh Studio. I think this could be an adorable baby card as well. You could use some pinks and blues and vellums and glitters. So much fun and so many different ways that you can do this, but I hope that you've been inspired by this card project today. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.